Routine is a game that has some terrifying enemies. In the first half of the game, robots, controlled by the automated security network. In the second half of the game, Entity A, a large creature which isn't quite human. But there's a third enemy that's even more deadly than the previous two, and that would be the EL9 fungus from the Canal, and that's what we're talking about today. Why are we talking about the fungus from Routine? Without the EL9 fungus, there is no Routine. The ASM robots wouldn't try to kill us, the entities would not exist, and the Canal would be unable to influence the humans on the moon. The EL9 fungus is imperative to the game's plot, and that's why we're talking about it. The fungus in Routine behaves like a real fungus called cordyceps. Cordyceps is a parasitic fungus which mainly preys on insects and arthropods. Cordyceps spores will be in the soil or on objects in its prey's environment. In this case, the prey or host is an ant. The spore attaches to the ant, then forces its way into the ant's body. The spore will then feed on the ant's body cells and begin growing in something called mycelium. You can think of mycelium as the fungi's root system, and this mycelium will grow throughout the host body. All the while, the fungi is still feeding on the host body cells. Eventually, the mycelium will look similar to a nervous system. At this point, the fungus will compel the host to climb up a plant and bite down. This will permanently lock the ant in place. Here, the ant will finally die, and the fungi's fruiting body will grow out from the host. The ant's position will allow the fruiting body to release spores to cover the environment below, which will eventually infect other ants to repeat the cycle. The EL9 fungus in Routine functions very similarly. The PRISM researchers, for example, encountered the fungal spores at the Canal. These spores attach to their suits and equipment, then is brought back inside the research facility. Here the spores attach to the crew and infects them. As the infection grows on the crew members, they slowly begin to exhibit symptoms. Eventually, the infected crew members are compelled to walk into the Canal. When our character walks into the Canal at the end of the game, we see multiple dead bodies there. So it's safe to assume those who are compelled to walk into the Canal die there. Lastly, we see multiple bodies in the second half of the game, with cordyceps fruiting bodies growing from them, which will then spread spores in the facility and continue infecting other humans. I think at this point we've safely determined that the fungus that we see on the moon is a cordyceps. A cordyceps kills its host, and the relationship between a cordyceps fungus and the host, only one side benefits. However, is the Canal trying to change that? Does the Canal actually want to kill its host, or is it trying to provide a benefit to the humans that are on the space station? Let me introduce you to a different type of fungus called mycorrhizal fungi. Mycorrhizal fungi forms a symbiotic relationship with its host. It's a relationship that has mutual benefits for both parties. Mycorrhizal fungi spores in soil will germinate and grow into a plant's root. The plant and mycorrhizae can now exchange sugars and nutrients. The hyphae grow outside of the plant's roots and create a large network of filaments. These filaments have the ability to cover significantly more area than the host root system, helping to provide more nutrients to the host plant, which, in exchange, provides nutrients back to the fungus. For my hypothesis, we need to assume that the Canal is some kind of conscious being that either controls or influences the fungi on the moon. Here's what I suggest. What if the Canal's fungus is a cordyceps, or operates like a cordyceps? However, it's trying to become a mycorrhizal fungus. It forms a symbiotic relationship with the researchers, or at least try to do so, but it's still figuring out how to do it. The canal has the ability to either create life or mutate humans. We know this from the existence of Entity A and B. The canal may think that it can benefit humans by mutating or rebirthing them. Entity B wasn't even close to being human. However, Entity A is significantly closer. Is the canal trying to conduct its own experiments? And let me ask this, what benefit does the canal think that it can provide to the humans? For this to be true, then both the canal and humans on the moon would have to want the relationship, and they'd need to both benefit from it. We know the canal compels infected humans towards it, so it wants a relationship. We see multiple examples in routine that it's common for the infected crew members to exhibit positive feelings towards the canal. John Cooper records a message in his last moments before death. He says, "I tried to reach you. It's beautiful. Thank you." I'm assuming he's seeing a vision of the canal, maybe blooming flowers, maybe how the canal will create new life. It didn't sound like he was scared. Reading through William Davis's terminal, we see that he was fascinated by Entity B. He develops a connection with her, despite her already being dead at this point. He shows a lot of empathy for Entity B. Such sorrow in her eyes. Or is it heartache? How lonely she must have been. I'm here now. Then he has a series of diary entries. I know now there's no place for us here. Not in a conventional sense. The canal is the answer. Just a few of us left now. It won't be long until we're all together. It's time to join them. Before I go, I must look upon her one last time. These aren't the entries by someone who's scared or intimidated by the canal. This is someone who's fascinated by it, who's looking forward to interacting with it. On James Mason's terminal in the vestibule, he has multiple diary entries about needing to be cleansed before entering the canal. He was anxious, hoping that he could get to the canal in time. I can't keep restarting the process. I won't be fully cleansed in time. And he wanted the conditions to be right before he entered into the canal as well. They're leaving, entering the canal. How can I join them if I'm not clean? One more bath. And finally, there's a couple more entries on Kenneth Murphy's terminal. Woke up in the past again, missing chunks of time. I feel like I need to be somewhere. It's like I'm waking up from a dream I can't remember. And that voice, my voice. He sounds confused and concerned, probably scared as well. But in the next entry, which is exactly 1 month later, he only writes, together. In the ecography room, there's an audio recording that sounds like Dr. Weber. The canal, the moon, it requires us, and we require it. In their last moments, none of these people seem like they're scared of the canal. It's the opposite. They're enticed by it. They're anticipating their interaction with it. They think it's beautiful. This is something that the humans that are infected by the EL9 fungus want. They want to have some type of relationship with the canal. So how does each party benefit from the relationship? Through the infected humans, the canal can continue repeating the fungi's life cycle. The humans who are infected are confident that the canal can help them. We'll see them make statements like, "The canal is our only way to go on, together. The canal is the answer." That leads me to believe that the entities are how the humans would benefit. The canal can rebirth humans into a new type of being. The game does leave open how the entities would be a better version of the humans. However, it seems like both the canal and the humans see it that way. It's a really interesting dynamic. A parasite who's trying to become symbiotic. Something that usually hurts something is now trying to help it. The canal wants to help humans, but in the process, it outright kills some of them, and then it turns some of them into grotesque creatures, like the entities, because it's not able to replicate humans yet. For all we know, the next entity may be even closer to being human than Entity A. The next entity may possess additional biological benefits as well. We're witnessing a heightened system of evolution that's being conducted by the canal. In the process, some humans may die, but it's a sacrifice the canal is willing to make.